later, but a lot of people are having a hard time scraping by to make ends meet. Go to a gas station and find out people that are only putting 2 or 3 gallons of gas in their car to try, because they don't have the money. Or some people are going to gas stations because $353 means a lot to people, that there's an increase of people driving off because they can't afford to pay for the gasoline. And so I know the difference between the two bodies, and I respect the senators when they voted 13 days ago to stand up and say, hey, a 1 week waiting period versus 1 hour for an attorney that we paid for out of the legislature. And so sometimes you have to look past, and I know people have said that our actions were political. But I don't think our actions were political the last time when we were here on the Tuesday to go ahead and vote and tell people we understand you're struggling. We want to help those people with the benefit extension, and we also don't want to hurt those people who are not wanting that 1 week waiting period. So I implore my colleagues to ignore the assembly, to go ahead and vote non-concurrence in the amendment. And finally, Mr. President, so that I want to let people know that some people are willing to go to the rail forum. On the motion for adjourning the special session, I would like to have a call on that. Let people know that we're willing to wait. We'll wait on the
session.
Basement? Are you going to the basement?
No, we're not going to go to the basement. You're out for the session. Well, you can sit here, but you're not coming back in because you're out for the session. You've been thrown out of for not following the rules.
And so you're not going to do anything. So you're just going to kick me out. But you did physically pull me, so you did still seize me. And you're not going to do anything.
Happy about thinking that?
No, you did. You did seize me. You pulled me. Yeah, you physically pulled me.
I'm going to take your camera because it's a weapon. If you're not
Can't take my camera.
You want to...
I'm keeping it away from you.
Right,
yeah, you can stand back. I'm keeping it away.
You're not going to re-enter the
still
session.
Filming you, but I'm keeping it as far away. Well, I will. I'll try. Let's see about that.
Well, you won't be re-entering during this session.
We'll see about that.
Oh, we're back to this.
Yeah. We got to go down and...
I should have yelled out before I left. I'll have to come back later. I'll be out here. Camera phone ready, bro.
Yeah. No, I don't. No, they haven't.
Support the 1 week waiting period. Well, Mr. President and members, Republicans are on the wrong side on the 1 week waiting period. Republicans have been attacking workers since January. Republicans have a disdain for working families. Republican majority. Mr. President, I am
Senator from the 25th, you know better.
Mr. President, I'm not referring to a particular senator, and the rules referring to a particular senator. The Republican majority has consistently, Mr. President, voted against the interest of working families. That is a matter of record. On minimum wage, that's a statement of fact. Yeah. Mr. President, it was the Republican majority that attacked workers' rights in February, in March, and April. Even though some members of the Republican majority, Mr. President, didn't like it. So they said they were going to protect firefighters and police officers to begin to chip away at firefighter and police officer protection in the budget. And then if they hadn't done enough damage to workers, Mr. President and members, they decided to pick on bus drivers and decided to pick on teacher aides.
Senator, we have an amendment before us, and we should stick to the amendment and stop telling me how bad I am.
Well, Mr. President, I think you're a very kind human being. It's just that you vote wrong. But, Mr. President, the record is relevant as to why we are at this point today, meeting on a Monday, because it is a pattern of consistent disregard to workers. And today, or 2 weeks ago, and the fact is that they make the Senate look weak, Mr. President and members, and they confirm once again this pattern of disdain to workers. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the vote is no on concurring with this Assembly amendment. And the reason is it doesn't represent the Unemployment Compensation Council. And its impact, the impact of this amendment is to take a week's worth of benefits away from our unemployed population. And what's the impact of that? The impact of that is in my city, in the city of Milwaukee, black male unemployment is 34%. In my neighborhoods, in my district, it's more like 50% and over 50% black male unemployment. And so we understand how important this is and weight. We all as a body, Democrat and Republican. We even went so far as to make it a voice vote, showing us and showing the state of Wisconsin that we have confidence in what we did. And when we were finished, we all said, "Kumbaya." This is a great thing to do. So now we're here 2 weeks later, and we want to take the unemployment benefits, a week's worth of unemployment benefits away from our workers all over the state. Where's the kumbayasity when you really need it?
Senator from the has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's good to see you, Mr. President. I'm a little surprised we're here, to be honest with you. 33-0 is an extremely strong stand for the Wisconsin State Senate to take. It doesn't get any clearer than that. A voice vote on an amendment that was attached to a bill that we all supported here in the chambers a couple of weeks ago, to have it go back to the Assembly, and for a handful of people to dictate to the Wisconsin State Senate what we will do is wrong. It's just a handful of people trying to be really, what they're doing is being unbelievably petty. I don't know if anybody, Mr. President, in this chamber has been laid off or lost a job. It's not fun. It's not fun. The self-esteem is shot. You're doing everything you possibly can to say to the people of the state who have been laid off, you're going to have to wait a week. It's just pouring salt into the wound. It's petty. It's wrong. And this is coming from a few people in the state assembly. The senator from the 15th was right, Mr. President, when he got up and he said, the state senate, what's our purpose? Why are we here? Are we a rubber stamp for the governor, which we know, and the assembly now too? If the assembly passes an amendment on a voice vote and it comes over to the Senate, I would almost guarantee you we would concur on that amendment. So I'm not certain what we stand for as a body. This is more so about the state senate than a lot of people know, Mr. President. A voice vote on an amendment to make sure that people don't have to wait to get their benefits is saying something very, very strongly. And there wasn't a roll call because I'm afraid some members in the body didn't want to go on record as voting for or against this amendment, so there was a voice vote. So I would tend to think, Mr. President, that if we are going to back down, if we're going to cower because the state assembly isn't going to take up a 33-0 or a voice voted amendment on the 1 week waiting period, I think we're setting a very bad precedent for the future. As the senator from the 15th has said, and as others know, we are a co-equal with the state assembly. We are a co-equal with the governor of the state of Wisconsin, but we're not acting like it. We are not doing our jobs. And we all will explain this to our constituents one way or the other. I mean, 2 weeks ago you voted for something, today you're going to vote against the same thing. This kind of sounds like John Kerry. It's exactly what it was. I was for it before I was against it. It's 1 week, $57 million. The senator from the 4th and the 25th have pointed out that this is money in the economy, this is money to feed kids, this is money to make a car payment, this is money that people need. This is money they need. I can't believe we are going to sink to the level of the state assembly and take it away from people. I can't believe we are going to let a handful of people in the state assembly who are trying to be righter than right, trying to appease talk radio, trying to get really, really tough for the taxpayers. I can't believe we're just going to take it from them without any discussion, without any input from the Democrats. All of us supported that amendment. It shouldn't have been one Fitzgerald, the majority leader, talking to the speaker saying, okay, fine, whatever. You guys can have your way. We all voted for it. Maybe we could have talked the speaker into something different. And then to pick up the newspaper after the amendment was canned in the Assembly, and to hear senators, Mr. President, talk about the games that the Democrats were playing that toed the amendment, I don't understand. We didn't say a word. We weren't going to say a word. We were just hoping that the amendment was going to be adopted. But it wasn't. And we get blamed for some reason, and I don't quite understand that, Mr. President. So it comes down to 1 week. A handful of people in the state assembly decided to say no, so the state senate has to roll over and take it. We're not setting a very good precedent for the future here at all. The vote to concur, Mr. President, is no.